Hello, my science lovers. Today we are going to talk about the science of women superheroes. Now, I wrote a piece at the time that Wonder Woman came out, and I want to read a little bit of that to you about the science, why it's important that we have representation in this regard. So what's going on with this thing? Why does Wonder Woman, the superhero film, matter? Well, let's kind of break this down. And you can find this article on scientistmail.com. You can also find my citations there as well in the hyperlinks. Now, at the time that Wonder Woman came out, since about 1920, out of 170 superhero films made in America, 7 have been exclusively women-led. This includes the current Wonder Woman film. Now, this isn't including Captain Marvel, which recently came out, so we got to keep that in mind. While there have been a larger amount of action films led by women that have been successful, it is not quite the same as the connotation of a superhero film that gives to the lead person. Let's take a moment to discuss Hollywood's view of the lack of success in women-led superhero roles. Hollywood has historically said that women-led superhero films bomb and therefore should not make any more. There have been 7 women-led superhero films since 1920. 7, where 6 are considered to be flops. There have been 163 male-led lead superhero films. Let me stumble over my words. With many considered to be box office failures, and quite a few that went straight to home video. These losses by male-led films are not weighed so heavily by Hollywood as the 6 female-led films. Let's consider Green Lantern, Daredevil, Batman, Robin, Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., the made-for-TV film with David Hasselhoff, The Punisher, direct-to-video, and just these 6 male-led films out of many are considered substantial flops. Yet Hollywood does not blame having male leads for their failure. As an aside, if you want to watch something truly awful, check out that Nick Fury film I mentioned, and please do compare it to any other given female-led superhero film, and just make up your own mind. Now, from a scientific perspective, the claim that female-led superhero films are unsuccessful and therefore should not be made would be crumpled up and thrown out the waste bin. Only having 7 films is not a substantial sample size. Now, to compare 7 to the 163 sample size of male-led films is irresponsible, given it is not going to present an accurate and unwavering conclusion. Now, scientists would not rely on the percentage of success, as 7 is not equal to 163, and there's no evidence to support such a claim. Now, given the recent Captain Marvel film that's busted the box office and highest grossing film of the year, perhaps we're seeing a shift in that. What is more reasonable to consider is that advertising, writing, dialogue, and plot, direction, acting, editing, and use/presence of effects play the largest roles in success of a film. There's a delicate balance between them, and that formula makes for a good film, not gender of lead character. Now, studios have to be willing to allow time and funding to develop a successful film. Now, let's discuss the portrayal of women versus men as superheroes. The majority of action films we see, and nearly all 7 of the female superhero films at the time prior to Wonder Woman, they have hypersexualized lead women. They are scantily clad and shot from objectifying angles. Many of the female characters still rely on men to help them handle their problems, and often have a romantic element. Now, many of these stories are from video games, books, graphic novels, primarily written and advertised to appeal to heterosexual men. Now, I want to make it clear, I'm not criticizing the fact that people do work and need each other in the real world, but I want to point out that many male-led superhero action films need no one substantial to help them, can romantically reject women, and are seen as strong characters and are universally successful. There is an imbalance here. We need women-led roles that place us in a light other than romantically needing a man, focusing on our bodies, and gaining success with the help of a man. In 2015, a study was performed discussing the impact of female superheroes on women and self-image. Now, an overview of the study can be found on Scientific American, and you can find this all on my website, scientistmail.com. The authors wanted to see if women felt more empowered watching women as superheroes over being victims. Now, I'm going to quote a portion of their article. Pennell and Bam Morowitz posited that exposure to these stereotypic female victims, whose primary appeal is sexual, may lower women's body esteem, heighten the value they place on body image, and result in less egalitarian gender role beliefs and expectations. However, female characters have come a long way in the superhero genre, and it's possible that the antidote to this helpless fair maiden is the competent, commanding superheroine. The X-Men films, for example, feature a number of empowering female characters like Storm, Jean Grey, and Dazzler, each of whom wields a unique special ability and displays impressive cognitive and physical competence. Now, perhaps exposure to this new generation of female heroines will result in a more egalitarian gender beliefs, higher body esteem, and greater prioritization of physical competence over appearance. What these particular scientists found in this is that hypersexualized female superheroes made women feel worse about themselves. The focus was on impossible and unattainable body types, performing fantastic feats in high heels, and clothing that enhanced a sexual perspective. Women left feeling not empowered, but terrible about themselves. They cannot possibly be who these women are, especially when attention is not how strong the women are, but what they wear, how they look, and how they manage to do impossible things while being objectified. So a video game example and a personal anecdote. There's some mild spoilers in this, but it's several years old. Injustice, come on. Now, when that particular video game came out, I was excited that I was able to play a fighting game with DC superheroes. Yes, I purchased the game and played the story. They played the story mode to finish. All of the women were scantily clad, as per usual in the DC universe, but what upset me the most? Out of 20 levels to play, I got to play a woman superhero one time. Wonder Woman, on the 18th level. I had played as Batman several times, Green Lantern once, Joker, and other not as well publicized male characters who beat up computer player female DC characters in this mode. Out of all of the well-known female characters in the DC universe, the game developers wrote in a playable Wonder Woman once, on the 18th level. She manages to save the world with her army of women, fighting the evil versions of superheroes from another dimension. During the last animation sequence, rather than appreciate the fact she saved the world, the only thing the male superheroes had to say about her is that she is prettier than the evil version. I bought this game. I was the one who paid for this. I was livid over the treatment of women in this game, not having a playable female superhero until level 18 and then objectified nonetheless. So why do films like Wonder Woman matter? Okay, well, let's take a look at Wonder Woman. She is a character all her own. She's strong, capable, and without the need of anyone to accomplish her goals. She joins in on the fight to save the world because it is the right thing to do. The war cause needs her. She doesn't need them. She chooses to fight in a war to save humanity. She is both a symbol of femininity and equality, and she doesn't threaten her male peers. Given her portrayal in recent media, as the video game I mentioned previously, has male peers not acknowledging her accomplishments, but her body. What Wonder Woman is not is a gender-flipped female version of a male character. Supergirl, Batwoman, Spider-Woman. She is her own character in her own right with a solid history and well-fleshed-out story. She is an essential member to any team she chooses to join. The key factor being she chooses to join, and they are better for her being there. So in a recent interview with Screen Rant, well, relatively recent at the time that the film came out, Patty Jenkins, the director of Wonder Woman, discussed the importance of focusing on a person being a superhero and not the fact she is a woman, thus eliminating the arguments on either side regarding sexism. And this is a quote of what she had to say. Quote, I think we're in this very interesting time where these issues, sexism, have been around for a long time, but a lot different people are saying, actually not that much has changed for all of us. And so I think it's a hotbed topic regardless. What I like and want to be a part of is the next wave, which is like where, yes, it's going to bring up a lot of conversation about it, but the next wave is where we can just start making universal movies about other kinds of people and not have it be an issue. Just say like, yes, this is a universal movie about a person wanting to be a hero. This one happens to be a woman. And that's, I think, the real challenge, and so I went forward with that attitude. Wonder Woman mattered because it is not inherently about the gender of a character, but a character who is striving to save the world. A good story about a self-sufficient character who needs no one and chooses to put their person in harm's way to make the world better. She is not hypersexualized. She's strong. She is focused. Yes, Wonder Woman is female. Yes, she is a role model for equality and little girls everywhere. But we don't feel worse about ourselves leaving a film embracing our strength. And yes, it is a step forward to give a strong and equal voice of women represented in superhero films. This film matters because it starts positive discussions about representing women in the roles we have always had, contributing to the world and meaning so much more than what we wear or how our bodies look. Films such as this empower women, showing their strength. We can cheer with Wonder Woman as she chooses to do the right thing on her own without worrying about makeup, heels, perfect hair, or impressing a man. She shows our little girls that we choose to do with our lives what are more important than how we look or what we can do in makeup or heels. Women's contributions are necessary, and this film shows us this. So check out Hannibal and Monty's super awesome show. And this has been the science of women superheroes. And I can't wait to have this discussion with you guys. Like, share, and subscribe. And if you like what I do, check me out, youtube.com/scientistmel, scientistmel.com to hear about all of the sources I had associated with what I just told you. And like and share, subscribe, and let me know what you want to talk about. I will catch you guys a little bit later. Bye!